guys, welcome back to the podcast. So today I got another Las Vegas story for you guys, and this is one that involves me and 5 other of my friends from school. So for years we had this great plan that when we all turned 21, we were going to go to Las Vegas, spend about a week out there, and go to clubs, get a bunch of drinks, win a bunch of money gambling, and just have an absolute blast of a time. And so it started out with all the best of intentions, but it ends up with me having zero money and going on this weird, crazy, wild goose chase out in the middle of nowhere, Las Vegas, miles and miles away from the Strip. So I'm going to get into that. So it starts off where we, the first day we're going to Las Vegas, and we got the Mirage booked. We got 2 rooms for us, and we're all really, really excited. We're wearing suits on the way there, and we even convinced this old gullible couple that we were a band and that we were going to play at one of the bars in one of these hotels, and we actually got them believing it, which was funny, which was hilarious in and of itself. So we're excited for this trip. We've been planning it for months and months. We got all the money together, all that stuff. We got, nice looking suits. We're looking, our absolute best. And we start drinking like as soon as we get to the airport. As soon as we get there, we get through security, we're hitting up the bars. When we get on the plane, we are, buying those expensive shots and drinking on the plane. And as soon as we land, we go to the Mirage. We get ourselves checked in, and we start going to, buy drinks. So it was like a whole day of just drinking, starting off in the morning. So, and that's when the best plans obviously come to fruition, when you've been spending the entire day drinking. So after we got checked into the Mirage, the first thing we decided to do was we were going to go check out like the actual Strip. And we're walking down the Strip. And we go to Caesar's Palace, probably one of the nicest casinos on the Strip, at least at the time. And at this point, we want to win all that money. And so my plan was, well, I brought $200 cash. That money I just didn't care about. Like I could lose it all and I'll be fine. Well, I didn't think I was going to lose all of it all in one go. But so originally it started out with I'll spend $50 a day. And so that'll give me through 4 days of gambling. I assume I'm going to win some money too, so I'll use that as well. Again, on paper, I think this is a really, really good plan. Unfortunately, though, drunk me wasn't staying to the plan very well. So almost immediately, I lose my $50, probably in a span of 30 minutes, playing roulette. And I'm just I'm kind of disappointed. A couple of my other friends are losing. Some of my other friends are winning big. And so when you are, drinking a whole lot, you start doing drunk probability. And drunk probability is very, very dangerous because you start looking at all of the odds. And there's no game in the casino that has good odds. But with drunk probability, you're just like, oh, well, if I put this much money down, there's no way I can lose. You start saying things like that. So me and a buddy of mine, we ended up putting, I put $150 down on red on roulette. And again, using the formula of, if we both put this much money down on red, there's no way that we can lose. Well, famous last words, and to no one's surprise, we both lost. That doesn't feel good. That's kind of a sobering punch to the gut when you just lose $200 in the span of probably 30, 45 minutes, if that. So now I'm basically all out of my gambling money. So now if I want to gamble, I'm gonna have to go to the ATM machine and deal with that awful $10 charge they have in the casinos for taking out money. But I'm in Las Vegas, I'm 21, I'm young, so I'm going to do it. No big deal. Well, that kind of ended our first night. We're jet lagged from the plane. We just, some of us won some money, a bunch of us lost a bunch of money. We decided we're going to go to the rooms and we're going to turn in. So the next big thing that happens, so we do like the normal Vegas stuff. We're chilling at the pools. Um, there's like clubs and stuff we try to go to. All the fun stuff. We go to different casinos, try those out. We weren't really doing any shows though. We weren't really there for that. So the next big like event in this story is we go. We make plans to go to this really nice strip club. I believe some of us met like a promoter at breakfast. 'Cause like there's always promoters like promoting clubs and all this kind of stuff all over the place, and they're gonna act like your best friend, and they're gonna give you like deals and all this fun stuff. So this guy, he's like, oh, this is the best strip club in Vegas. We bring a limousine to you guys. It has drinks in, all that kind of stuff. We take you to the strip club. We take you back, all that good stuff. So my friends are like, yeah, they're all for it. Me, I'm not a big strip club fan. It's just not really my scene. It's never really been, and it's still not my thing. I'm just not a big fan. But like, I don't want to spend the night at the hotel by myself, so I'm going to go along for it. So we get picked up in a really nice limousine. It's filled with drinks and all that kind of stuff, and of course we're in the casino taking advantage of those mostly free drinks as best as we can, and we're just kind of just staying buzzed to hammered throughout the entire time. And we get to the strip club, and the strip club was actually, it was like we thought it was going to be like on the strip, but apparently I guess they don't have any strip clubs like physically on the strip, so it was a bit of a drive. And we get to the strip club, and I'm no connoisseur of strip clubs, but it seemed nice. If I had to picture what a nice strip club would be, this would probably be what I would have imagined or pictured. Now, right away, I'm just kind of uncomfortable. Like I'm not super frugal with my money. Like I'll throw my money away on things that end up being dumb or poor investments or anything like that. I've just never liked the idea of just throwing money at women to be naked in front of me. It's just not my thing. A couple of my buddies are having a good time. I'm just like, oh God, hopefully this can be done. And in preparation for this, I went to the ATM and I got myself a bunch of cash because you can't just be at a strip club with just a card. You got to have cash with you. Well, I'm only in the strip club for maybe 20 minutes, if that, when the entire like strip club experience is ruined for me. Right? And I've never been to one after this. It is still ruined. So we're kind of hanging around. A couple of my buddies like over in these nice chairs. A couple of us are like over here kind of by this bar area, and this lady comes up to me, and she looks exactly like my mom, like I guess a little bit younger, and that was just like, nope, fuck this, I'm gone. I can't handle this. Like I was going through like a really weird, rough, rocky relationship with my mom during this time anyway, and to see like the stripper version of my mom come up to me, I was like, no, this isn't for me. I can't handle this. I'm gonna leave right now. So I don't even think I told any of my friends. I think I just turned around and walked right out the door. And I get on my phone. I call up a cab. And I get in the cab and I go back to the Mirage, our hotel that we're staying at. So the cab takes me back to the hotel. I pay the cab driver and I go upstairs and I had one of the keys to get into the room, or so I thought. I didn't have a key, and now. I also the room was not in my name, so I couldn't go downstairs and ask for a key because I would have to have like one of my friends' licenses or something like that. So I'm just now stuck in the hallway with no way of getting into the room. So it just ends up being a miserable night. But something happens that just really tops it off. So at some point, like I'm fumbling with my wallet, and I notice my debit card is no longer in my wallet. And I start thinking, oh shit. So I kind of retrace my steps. Maybe I dropped it on the way. So I'm looking through the hallways, all that stuff. I get on the elevator, the same exact elevator. I go through the lobby, all that kind of stuff, out into like the area where the cab dropped me off. Nothing. And the reality is a debit card on the ground in Las Vegas, that's not going to last very long. There's like, as soon as that thing hits the ground, I feel like people's sensors go off and they're there stealing that. Well, I go to the lobby. They have like a lost and found type thing, and of course, nothing. I'm able to call the cab company, and they're able to contact the driver, have him check his car. It's not there either. So, what must have happened was I lost my card at the strip club. See, at the time, I had a bad habit of I wouldn't always keep my card in my wallet. I would just kind of keep it in my pocket. That was just kind of like really easy to pull it out and swipe stuff or pay stuff. And so I think when I was drunkenly at the strip club, I must have after like paying to get in or whatever, it must have missed my pocket and just hit the ground and was completely gone. So at this point, at some point, my friends texted me, asked me, "Oh, hey, where are you at?" And I said, "Oh, hey, I had to go back to the hotel. I wasn't really feeling the strip club, all that stuff. But I don't have a key, so hopefully when you guys get back, you guys can let me in the room." But I didn't tell them at the time that I'm losing my card. And so as far as like cash on me, I have like maybe $60, if that. And I still have a couple days left in Las Vegas. So that's not great. So it's time to like start like rationing my money and being smart with it. So the first smart decision I make is I go down to the casino and they have those big giant like smoothie machines. You ever see where it's like a yard long of like those like alcohol slushies? And I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna buy one of these. And it's like $30 some, but whatever. So I'm just up there sitting in the hallway for a couple hours. I felt like just drinking this yard long alcohol slushy thing, just sitting there. People are walking by, looking at me like, who the fuck is this dude? Why can't he get into his room? Well, at some point, my friends do finally come back, and I tell them the situation of how I don't have my debit card, and now I only have like $20 some to my name. And at the time, I didn't even think to like text them to ask them if they would check the strip club. But it's dark in there. There was no way they were going to find it there. I also didn't really think about calling the place. I just didn't want anything to do with it after being there. So I never called them to see if they found it. I just immediately called the bank and told them to cancel it. So now it's like, well, I still have like 2 or 3 days here in Vegas, and I'm gonna need some money. So maybe I can find a PNC bank. That's who I do my banking with. So I end up like using my phone, and I'm Googling around, and sure enough, there is, according to my phone, a PNC bank in Las Vegas. Now, it's not on the Strip. It's like in like actual Las Vegas proper. It's like miles away, though. So, like, a cab would cost me an arm and a leg. So I don't have enough money to take a cab there. So I'm going to have to use like public transportation and stuff like that. I'm going to maybe have enough money for a a bus pass. And like me personally, I'm just not a big fan of asking my friends for money. I really don't like asking anyone for money. I'd rather just kind of, suffer than have to do that. I don't like being in debt to anybody. So we make the plan. It's a late night, like 4 a.m. plan. But tomorrow morning, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna get breakfast with my friends, and then I'm gonna make the trek out to this PNC bank. So we wake up the next morning, and we go to a breakfast buffet, and my thought process was like I'll eat like a bunch of food to last me throughout the day. So I end up spending like a good chunk of my money on that. A couple of my buddies were nice enough to lend me a couple bucks to make it through the day. And again, the plan was I'm going to obviously pay them back once I get to the bank and get some money from my bank. So I asked him, does anyone want to come with me? Do we want to do like the buddy system and have one of you guys hang out with me during this? I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. And of course, no one volunteers to do that. We don't really believe in the buddy system with my friend group, which can make for some fun and aggravating events. But I digress on that. So I go to buy a bus pass, and I buy a 24-hour bus pass because I'm not too confident in my abilities to solve this in an hour or two. So the first thing I have to do is I got to get on a bus and take it down to Old Vegas where they have their big centralized bus station. And this is really like my first time like really using public transportation. I've never really had to use it anywhere else. So I get to Old Vegas, no problem. And like the thing that sucks with the buses in Las Vegas is they are just cramped and packed, and it's just uncomfortable being there on the Strip. Once you get to Old Vegas, though, it's more spread out and it's a little bit better. So I'm trying to like calculate this route, and I remember going to one of the ladies at the big bus station, and I'm like, oh hey, like I'm trying to get to this PNC bank, and what should have been like a red flag didn't really register as one, and she goes, I don't know where that's at. PNC Bank? I don't know what you're talking about, sir. And I'm like, oh, no, it's here. And I show her like on my phone, like I give her this address and that kind of stuff. She goes, well, you're going to have to take this bus, get off at this bus, switch to this bus. Give me all sorts of directions. I'm going to have to do a couple, bus changes, which I'm not worried about it. I think I'm smart enough to figure it out, but it's definitely inconvenient. So I get ready to start the actual trek getting out of like the Strip and all that kind of stuff in Old Vegas, and I get on the first bus, and it takes me through like some of the worst areas I've ever been in. I've been all over the places. I've been in some great cities, bad cities, and every city has its good and bad parts. This one was just like specifically taking us through the bad, poor parts of Las Vegas. This is just like the bus for like all the poor people who worked here. It felt like, man, no one looked happy to be on the bus. Everyone's just doing their going to their jobs, all that kind of stuff. And I remember I get off at this bus stop, and it is just awful looking. I'm just in a terrible, terrible part of town. I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to be here too long. Good news is I don't have much money to my name. I maybe have like, after buying that bus pass, I maybe have, $20-30 to my name at this point. So, I'm probably not going to be a target-rich environment for anybody trying to mess with me. Well, I get on this next bus, and this bus, there was like no one on it, and it takes me to the middle of nowhere. I'm out, so like Las Vegas is like a big bowl with like mountains around it. And, it's like when you're in Las Vegas, the Strip, you see like the mountains, and they're like, like these little small things out in the distance. Well, I was in like the exact opposite situation. I'm by these mountains and I can see like the Las Vegas Strip and the little stratosphere and all that stuff. And it's tiny. I am like just out here, and this bus drops me off at a bus stop. It's just a little crossroads in the desert. No one around except for one guy. This guy is Homeless Mike. So, and the buses take a good amount of time for the next one to, get to me. So there's this one dude, again, he looks homeless as all get out. And of course, what does he do? He starts talking to me. And it's fine, I have no problem talking to people. I'm not like one of those people who are like, oh, don't talk to me, stranger. Poor person, get away from me. I'm not like that. But I could just tell, of course, like the guy's angling for money. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm almost in his situation. Maybe this guy is in a situation similar to me, and he just never was able to get money or get back home. So I can sort of empathize. Well, he starts, asking me, all sorts of questions, and first thing he does is he asks me where I'm from. I tell him where I'm from. I say, yeah, I'm from around Cincinnati, Ohio. And of course, he's like, oh man, no way, me too. I'm from around there, blah, 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 blah. And he starts like naming off some like, generic things, trying to like make that connection between us. And in my head, I'm going like, dude, there is no way you're from Cincinnati. That's not happening. So of course, then he starts asking me, oh, so what do you do? And I tell him, oh, well, I'm a martial arts instructor and a martial artist. And of course, without dropping a beat, he's like, oh man, no way, me too. I was out there, I was doing taekwondo. And oh man, I had an instructor and he had a school out there. I can't remember his name. It was so long, but yeah, man, I was a martial artist too. So he's trying to make that, connection with me. And again, in the back of my head, I'm going like, motherfucker, you are not from Cincinnati, and you're sure as hell not a martial artist from Cincinnati. And then he asks me, oh, what's your name? So now I'm going, well, there's no way this guy is going to, listen to my name and then tell me that has the same name as me or the same last name or anything like that. Like, surely he's not going to do this. But just in case, I'm going to give him a fake last name. So I tell him, oh, I'm Ben Johnson. I just pulled out Johnson out of my ass, and I was like, I'll use that one instead. And as if on cue, this guy's like, oh, dude, no way. My name is Johnson too. Man, we might even be related. We might have cousins out there. Are you related to so-and-so? He's just, listing out like random names that I would have no way of really, verifying if those people exist or anything. He's trying to be like really buddy and family like to me, saying, oh man, we might be like, third or fourth distant cousins. How crazy is that? Run into each other out here. And I'm just like, I could have told you any last name, and the guy would have been like, oh yeah, man, I'm this person too. So I'm just like, oh yeah, man, that's a crazy coincidence, blah, 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 all that stuff. And finally, like, the bus starts, we see the bus in the distance coming here. And now he finally, makes the push. And he goes, so man, I'm in a bad way. Can I borrow some money? And I'm like, dude, you should have started off with that. You should have asked me that right off the get-go, just so I could tell you that I need money too. Like, I have no money to my name. I lost all my money. I don't even have a credit card or a debit card. So I'm in a, just as bad of a situation. Do you have any money for me? And of course, he's like, nah, man, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. And my bus is here. He doesn't get on it. I'm on the bus. And I just thought, man, what a weird tactic it is. I mean, maybe it could work on someone who's just like extremely gullible, thinking like, oh my God, maybe this is like a long lost cousin who I've never met who just so happens to have the same occupation and be from the same exact city. The odds of that happening have got to be astronomical. It could just never happen. So I'm on the bus now, and I have one last destination. This one is going to finally take me to where I need to go. So it starts taking me through some like pretty nice parts of Las Vegas that again are out by these mountains, and again the strip's way off in the distance. And so it finally takes me to this last bus stop, and it's not like subdivisions or anything, but it's not the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's some civilization at least. So I pull up my phone. I use my my GPS to put in that address, and of course, I wasn't going to get lucky enough and have the the bus drop me off right next to the bank, but it's only a little bit over a mile away. And now I'm not going to, I don't have the money really to pay for a cab at this point, so I start walking. Now it's probably like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, maybe. It took me a while to get to this point. Like I left probably around 12, maybe, and it's the Vegas sun is hot, so I'm out. I had to sit out in the desert for a while, waiting on my specific bus at this bus stop, talking to homeless Mike. I had to now walk a little over a mile again in the hot sun, and I come across this little business park, and so I'm thinking, oh, good, perfect. Like if there was going to be a PNC Bank, it would be here in this business park. So I'm looking at all the numbers and all kind of stuff, looking at my phone, looking at the numbers in the buildings, and there's no bank, no PNC Bank. Now, denial is what immediately kicks in. So I'm like walking around the whole business park, going up to like each building, looking in the windows, all that kind of stuff, thinking like, okay, like surely maybe like the phone is wrong. Maybe the information was wrong. But no bank. I even go into one of the buildings and I go, hey, there's supposed to be a PNC Bank around here. And the guy goes, what's PNC Bank? And I'm like, PNC Bank, a big major banking company? He goes, man, there's no banks around here. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. So this is like 2 people now who have kind of, deflated my hopes of finding this bank. So denial is still like the main emotion I'm feeling and going off of. So I walk my mile back to the crossroads where the bus stop was, and I go, maybe, just maybe, it was the wrong direction. Maybe I had to go the opposite way I went. Maybe that happens. Sometimes, especially this was almost 10 years ago. It's like the GPSs and the phones weren't that great. Maybe I walked the wrong direction. Maybe that's what it was. So I walk about a mile down the road. I come up to some other, businesses and stuff like that. No banks, not even any bank. And I'm just like, oh God. So I stop into a little business in there. I say, hey, I'm looking for a PNC Bank. There's supposed to be one around here. And again, like the person behind the counter is looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, I've never heard of PNC Bank. Do you mean like U.S. Bank or Fifth Third Bank? I'm like, no, PNC Bank. It's a big bank. And they're just like, no, man, I don't think we have any of those around here. I'm just like, oh my God. So now I have to walk, again, about another mile back to this crossroad. And so now, I am defeated. It's like, denial is gone. I've just kind of fully accepted defeat here. And during this this time, I was kind of checking in with my friends. I wanted to let them know that I'm not dead or anything. And just kind of giving them little updates, be like, oh hey man, I'm in this shitty part of town. Oh, look at this picture from how far away I am from the strip. Look at this homeless dude talking to me. Oh, there's no bank here. There's no bank there. And so at this point, I'm back at this crossroads, and my phone is about dead. I didn't bring a charger, and portable battery chargers weren't that common of a thing, I don't think. I got just a little bit of percentage left. So I head into this public library to kind of just cool off for a little bit because it's just hot. And my phone is about to die, and I call up one of my buddies, and I tell him, hey man, like my phone's right about to die. There's no PNC banks out here. I don't think they exist this far out west. I have no money. I'm going to make my way back to you guys. Just wait for me. And my buddy's like, all right, man, awesome. We're going to wait for you, and then we're going to go down to Old Vegas, and we'll party down there, and that'll be fun, and it'll take your mind off things. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'll just get back. I'll get on the buses, get back, and meet up with you guys at the room. So that was the plan. So my phone dies pretty much right after that call. I'm glad I was able to get that call out. Well, I get on one of the little public computers, and now I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't want to give up just yet. So I'm searching for these PNC banks, all that kind of stuff, and nothing's coming up. And I end up doing like a search of like where are like PNC banks located nationally. Now I thought this was like a nationwide bank. No, it's only in like the Midwest or the East Coast. Sorry, that's all where these are at. Like there are no PNC banks out west. So that's why these people have been looking at me like I'm crazy. And to this day, I still don't know why. When I Googled this, it said a PNC bank was out there, and I even had a friend of mine confirm it with me that we had agreed that there was a PNC bank supposed to be at this location, but no bank, whatever. Well, I'm on the computer, and I'm just looking for any bank. And there's a bank, and it's about a mile down the road from this public library. So like I went like north, I went south, now I got to go like east. Now I'm like, all right, whatever. Like maybe I'll go to this bank and I'll tell them my situation, and like maybe they can contact my bank back in Cincinnati, and like somehow they'll like wire money to me. Maybe that'll work. Again, I'm not super experienced with the banking system at that point in time, but I'm desperate. All right, I need some money, and it was as good of a plan as I could think of at the time. So I start walking, and again, by this time, I'm getting like blisters on my feet. I'm out there wearing. I did all of this wearing flip flops, not shoes. This was all like just cheap garbage flip flops that are like kind of like cutting my toes and getting blisters on my feet. And again, it's just hot, not a cloud to be seen. And so I finally make it to this bank. And I go inside. I'm looking all like red from being out in the sun. I'm all like exhausted. I'm tired because I stayed up so late the day before, and I've been on this losing wild goose chase for pretty much all day, and I'm disappointed. And I'm just like, you guys, listen. I lost my debit card at a strip club. I don't have any money. I'm looking for this PNC bank. It was supposed to be like a mile that way, but apparently it's not. Do you guys know what PNC bank is? Have you guys ever heard of it? Can you guys like call them up, and they'll like confirm who I am and like send you guys money to give to me? And they're just like, sir, we can't help you. They're looking at me like I'm crazy, and they're just like, no, we can't do any of that. We don't know what a PNC bank is. Do you have an account with us? I'm like, no. Do you want to open an account with us? I'm like, no, I need money. They're like, sorry, sir. We don't just hand out money to people coming in asking for it. So that was that plan. So now I've kind of gone through all of my options. None of the banks are going to help me with this. At the time, I never thought to like call my dad and tell him, oh, hey, Dad, like I lost my debit card. Can you just like wire some money to the hotel room? Because they'll do that. The hotels can actually do that pretty easily. Or he can actually like call a bank and have him wire money and do that kind of stuff. That was all stuff I learned later on that would have been nice to know during the time. But I was also like deathly afraid of like my dad finding out. Not like deathly afraid, but I didn't want him to be disappointed in me. I didn't want to be like, Dad, I need help. Help me, please. I didn't want to be that kind of person. So I figured I'd figure it out on my own, which didn't work out too well though. So I start walking back to the intersection where that bus stop was, and like I just feel like the whole day was just ruined. And now like I'm gonna go back, and we still have another day or two, and I'm gonna have no money. I'm gonna have to either beg my friends for some money, or I'm just gonna have to not eat, not drink anything, not have any fun, and just be poor and miserable during this time. So that's a bad enough kind of mental state to be in. But just to add a little bit more salt to the wound, as I'm walking back to the bus stop, I'm probably like a quarter of a mile away at this point. I see the goddamn bus that I need to take coming down the road. And I'm just like, oh fuck, I do not want to wait for another bus. So I start running. And I'm just like, oh god, I gotta make it there. I gotta make it to the bus stop. And of course, like as soon as I get to the bus stop, that bus pulls away, and there's not going to be another bus for like 15, 20 minutes or however long it takes. So I was just beyond pissed at that point in time, just angry at life. So there's a little convenience store nearby. I have about $20 left to my name, or a little bit less than that, maybe like 18, 17. So I go to this convenience store, and I have about maybe like $18 to $20 left or whatever, and I buy some food. I buy some Monster energy drinks, and like this is gonna be lunch and dinner for today, and I end up with about $12 left to my name. I drink my drinks, eat my food, waiting for the bus. The bus finally comes. And I start the long trip back. I end up going to the middle of nowhere. Luckily, Homeless Mike wasn't there. But now I'm thinking, oh shit, maybe I'm going to become Homeless Mike. I'm waiting there in the middle of nowhere. The bus comes, takes me back to the poor, bad area of Las Vegas. I get there, and then I go back. I'm in Old Vegas at the big like bus station. I get on the bus down to the Strip, and it takes me to the Mirage. So I get to the Mirage, and at this point, man, like I'm just upset. I'm annoyed. I'm so fucking just like angry at myself for losing that debit card, putting myself in this situation, being alone the entire day. I'm kind of mad that none of my friends would have came with me. But to be fair, they didn't waste their day, so it's not their loss. But I'm like, okay, like we'll go to Old Vegas. I'll have some drinks. I'll calm down, and I'll figure this shit out. So I take the key out. I open the door, expecting to see all my friends there, waiting for me so we can go down to Old Vegas. And no one's there. I'm like, okay, well, this is weird. Where the hell is everyone at? I go to the other room because we had two rooms. I'm banging on that door. No one's there. So now I'm thinking like, motherfucker, my friends left me. They said they were going to wait for me, and they left. And like at this time, it's probably like it's getting dark-ish. So like it's probably around like 6 or 7-ish. And so at the time, like when I had like last talked to them, it was around like maybe 3 or 4 or whatever. So like as it had turned out, like they were waiting for me, but my phone was dead, and they didn't want to wait all day, so they just ended up going to Old Vegas, whatever. So I'm just now sitting in the room, just seething mad because like this was like the one thing I was hoping to have like go my way was hanging out with my friends that night. So I'm trying to like angrily charge my phone because I'm just gonna like text out, where the fuck are you guys at? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Well, I had like one of those old iPhones where, before you could use it, the phone has to get to like 10%. And I swear to God, that was like the longest 10 minutes of my life waiting for that phone to charge up. I'm just like sitting in the room, just like, God, I don't have any money. My whole day was ruined. There's no stupid banks out here. I never should have gone to the strip club. Never should have done this. Never should have bought this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just angry, man. Well, I finally get my phone. I'm like, hey, guys, I thought you were supposed to be at the room. Where are you guys at? One of the buddies replies, oh, hey, man, yeah, we were waiting for you, but we never heard back from you. And we're down here in Old Vegas. We'll wait for you. We'll be at the Golden Nugget. Come find us there. So now I have to get back on another bus. And I'm sick and tired of buses at this point. I've had enough buses. I don't want to see the inside of a goddamn bus. I spent my entire day sitting in these stupid things. But I walk my ass out of that hotel, get on the bus, and I go down to Old Vegas with just like $12 to my name. So I'm down in Old Vegas, and I eventually go to the Golden Nugget, and I didn't let my phone charge all the way. My phone's like back to dying pretty soon. I wasn't gonna wait the hour and a half, however long it used to take phones to charge up, and so it's just a nightmare trying to find people. Oh, where are you guys at? What do you buy? All this kind of stuff, especially when you're in an area that, people don't know very well, they're not familiar with. So I couldn't find him in the casino at the Golden Nugget. So at this point, I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck them. I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to spend all the time trying to find them. So I'm just walking around the Golden Nugget casino, and well, they have $5 roulette tables. And I'm thinking like, oh shit, man, $5 roulette tables. That gives me 2 chances. And now I start doing luckily I was sober this time. I start doing my math. So I'll have 2 chances. I'll start with 5. I have 5 go to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160. I'll have that 160 turn into 320, 420. I'm like, oh my God, like I can win back all the money I've lost. All I have to do is just guess the correct color 5 or 6 times in a row. How hard can that be? So I show up to that table. I throw my $10 on the table like I'm, a big shot. The guy gives me two chips, 2 $5 chips. I put the first one on red. Comes up black, of course. So I'm like, all right, well, that sucked, but now I have one more chance. Surely it's going to work this time, because there's no way after the awful day I've had, karma is going to continue to punish me like this. Surely the winning streak starts now. So switch it over to black. My last $5 chip, because there's no $1 tables anywhere or $2 tables anywhere. And now here it comes. Here's where the fortune starts to build up, and it comes up red. So I've lost every single game that I played in Las Vegas. I lost every single roll of the dice, every single spin of the wheel, everything that was the final 2, the hopes and dreams of walking away with some money in my pockets. That way I don't feel like I have to be borrowing money from people. And all I have now is just 2 sorry $1 bills to my name, and I leave that table and I just storm out onto the Old Vegas Strip. And I'm just pissed. I'm mad at myself too for gambling that last $10. Where I'm thinking oh my God, maybe I have a problem. So I'm walking. I'm looking for my friends. My phone's dead at this point, of course. And as I'm walking, I see I'm thinking to myself what the hell can I even buy with $2? How am I going to turn this $2 into something, profitable? Well, as I'm walking down the Old Vegas Strip, I see a sign that says margaritas 2 for $2. And I was like, you know what? That's as good as anything. So I go there. I buy my 2 like salty margaritas, my pity margaritas, and I'm walking around sipping out of both hands, double fisting these margaritas. I finally come up to my friends. They're all asking me how I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. Like, oh man, like we tried getting a hold of you, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't stay mad at them. I was like, oh do I have a fucking story to tell you guys, and telling them the adventure of what I had, and luckily they took enough pity upon me to where they're like, you know what, we'll buy you some drinks, we'll let you borrow some money, just pay us back when you get home and stuff like that. And honestly, like in the beginning, like if I was not so like stubborn and hard-headed and like afraid of asking for help, I probably could have done that. I probably could have been like, oh, maybe I should ask like some friends, like, let me borrow some money so I don't have to go on this, wild goose chase out into the desert. Or if I would have, called my dad and asked him for some help. But then I wouldn't have gotten the life experiences that I had. So it ended up, I think we were there for maybe another day or two, and, we had fun. I wasn't gambling, wasn't doing any of that. I had zero luck with that, so I was watching my friends gamble their money away. Wasn't really drinking or anything, just kind of keep my stuff to the bare necessities. Ended up paying all my buddies back, and we ended up having just a really good time out there. There was a bunch of crazy stuff that we ended up getting into. We tend to not talk about the trip too much to other people. We kind of keep that amongst ourselves. So I'm not going to go into any detail about what that was, but it was a good trip, and I'm glad I got to go on it. And I think next year is going to be the 10-year anniversary of that trip, and we're actually planning. We're in the planning stages right now of going back to Las Vegas again. So we were talking about that the other day. So that'd be good to because a couple of these guys I haven't seen them in a while. They moved away, so that'll be fun. But I did tell them that like, under no circumstances am I going to go to any strip clubs. I'm not going to lose any of my money. And if I do, for some reason, have to find a bank, I'm going to drag one of their asses with me so they can be miserable along with me. So that is the Las Vegas adventure of trying to find the non-existent PNC Bank. It was a scavenger hunt from hell out there. But again, it was it made for a good experience. It makes for a good story to tell people. So I can't knock it too hard. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there and listening to me go on with all this stuff. I appreciate all of the support. If you guys can just keep liking and sharing and putting the videos out there, that helps me a whole lot. Helps me get some more numbers and more people listening to it and building that audience. So I appreciate all of you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Perfect.